Thank you for having me. So raise your hand if you've ever said the words, healthcare's broken. Did you know that the cost of having access to healthcare has risen by 18% in the past 5 years, despite the system being broken? And it's going to raise an estimated 8% in 2025. This system is getting more and more expensive every year and getting more and more broken, and we all feel it. So I have practiced clinical medicine for 25 years in 2 fields of medicine. I have gone through 3 different experiences: academic medicine, large group private practice, and entrepreneurial craziness. I started my own practice 6 years ago in a time that practices are folding right and left. I have been a part of this healthcare system wearing 4 different hats during this time. So I have been a patient and a caregiver for an aging parent who is also a patient. I have been a provider of healthcare, moving the patient to the system. I have been a business owner of the system, contracting with the various entities within the system. And I employ people, so I provide them with healthcare. 4 different hats, looking at the system in 4 different ways. And what I will tell you about this system is it's not broken at all. It's working beautifully, exactly the way it's designed. It is thriving. Healthcare makes up 20% of our GDP right now. Corporations are making massive amounts of money off this system right now. It's working. It's just not working for the 3 people we need it to be working for. And there are 3 entities that make healthcare absolutely essential. One is the people accessing care, the patients. You at some point, whether you have been or you will be, you will need to be a patient at some point. 2, the people providing healthcare. I hate the word provider. I'm a physician, but I provide healthcare. We're essential to that process, right? And then 3, the people paying for healthcare, shelling out their money, which in our system is mostly employers. It's a little over half of the money funding healthcare is coming from employers. So you that own businesses in this room. Now, indirectly, the people are paying for that too, and the government pays for some, but that's the people too. But let's just go with the employers because it's an easy bucket to understand. So those 3 players are essential to the healthcare system, but it's failing us. So let me tell you about a patient that I saw. So my first field of medicine was obstetrics and gynecology before I moved into obesity medicine. And as an OBGYN, it's kind of a controlled chaos situation. We have an office. We see patients every 15 minutes like other doctors do in the world, but we're also managing labor and delivery in the emergency department and the operating room, and that's okay. It's fine. We're kind of adrenaline junkies in this field anyway. But we see a lot of people for annual exams, and most of us that go into this field do it because we like people and we want to see them year after year after year. And on my schedule is a patient, Lori, who I love dearly. I've delivered kids for Lori. I love seeing her every year. She's on my schedule for an annual, and that's wonderful. And if you've ever been to a doctor, hopefully you have. If you haven't, we should talk about that. But there's a series of things that happen. So you're sitting in the exam room in a gynecology office. You're very naked with a paper gown wrapped around yourself, kind of feeling cold and miserable and vulnerable. But outside of that door, your doctor's looking at the chart saying what needs to be done to this person right now. Does Lori need a pap smear? Does Lori need a breast exam? Does Lori have a stable breast lump that we know about that I don't need to panic about when I feel it? What's up with Lori that I need to know before I walk in the door? Then you walk in the door and you talk to the person. It's kind of lighthearted banter, get used to the person, break the ice. You're gonna do some vulnerable stuff here pretty soon, so you need to do that. And you also need to know, what else does Lori need? Does Lori need an STD screen? Does Lori have a rash she's worried about? Those are things you have to assess quickly, and then you have to do an exam. And during the exam, you can talk. Doctors and patients talk during exams, but it's usually lighthearted banter. I want to hear about Lori's kids. I'm mentally going through a whole lot of things with my hands and my brain that are really important to me to make sure I do a good job. And Lori's very nakedly vulnerable with her legs in stirrups, not wanting to talk about deep things, right? Get that done, finish the exam. She gets to wrap the paper gown around herself, sit back up again. I get to wash my hands. Then we have to do a series of things that are essential to the patient-doctor relationship. I need to refill her birth control pills. I need to order her mammogram. A lot of women of childbearing age use their gynecologist as their primary care physician. So we need to figure out, does she need a flu shot? Do we need a screening colonoscopy? Does she want her thyroid checked? These are all normal things, but that encompasses the 15 minutes that we have allotted for the year. That's all I got, right? But because I really like Lori, and because I'm in medicine, because I like people and I like relationships, At the end of that 15 minutes, I say, how are you, Lori? How's life? And Lori cries. And I knew this was gonna happen. I knew I was gonna open Pandora's box, but this is what you do as a gynecologist, is you connect with people and you see it coming, and this is not a one-off. And Lori says, I don't like my husband, Courtney. My life is hard. I don't like my husband, but I don't wanna leave him. I'm afraid he's gonna take the kids because I'm the primary breadwinner. I drink too much. I don't sleep. I'm gaining weight. I'm depressed. I'm making it through. The kids give me joy, but when they graduate in a few years, I don't know what life is gonna look like for me. Okay, that's a conversation I've had many times before. How do I solve that? We're minus 4 minutes and counting at this point to the 15 minutes I have allotted for Lori. I have 3 people in rooms down the hall waiting for me that are getting steadily more mad. And I have somebody laboring down the hall that I'm gonna have to go deliver and make a lot more people mad. And what can I do for Lori? At the end of the day, what is in my capacity to do for her as her primary physician that she sees? Can I counsel her? I don't have time for that. I don't have training for it. I can say you need to go to a therapist, but it's not gonna get paid for. So what can I do? I can rule out suicidality, and is she a danger to other people? That's physician checkbox number 1 when somebody says I have a mood disorder, and no, she's not suicidal or homicidal, thank goodness. I can put that aside, and then I can shake her hand, give her a hug, and say, go to your primary care physician and find a therapist, and I'll see you in a year. Oh. It's a horrible feeling as a healthcare practitioner. It's a horrible feeling, but that's what I have to do, and then I have to go on and on and on and on. And at the end of my day, instead of being home feeding my kids, I have to chart all of that so that next year, if she comes back, we can revisit that. So that's healthcare. That's the state of the state. Now, did I help Lori? Yeah, I mean, I did her PAP. I refilled her birth control. She's not gonna get accidentally pregnant because it was helpful, but was it really helpful? Of the 3 players in the healthcare system, who's being helped? So patients today are getting sicker and sicker. Our life expectancy is dropping at this point every year. Our mental health, we've heard this, it's in the toilet. We are not well people. 93% of Americans over the age of 18 have one diagnostic marker of metabolic disease. We're sick collectively. 70% of us have excess weight. I mean, this is a world of unwellness, and we're not thriving. We're on an average of 2 medications each, and we just get older and sicker, and it's inevitable. The physicians aren't thriving either. So medicine already has a shortage of qualified people to take care of people. We know this. 2 out of every 5 practicing physicians today has plans to leave in the next 2 years. They're getting out. We are getting out. It's an unsustainable place to be. We have med school graduates coming in, but almost half of them are getting MD, PhDs so they can go into research, or MD, MBA so they can go to healthcare administration. They want to go into biotech. They don't want to log in and say, I want to see patients every 15 minutes for the next 35 years. This is coming. It's not as a result of physicians being weak-minded. I mean, the people that go through med school and make it there, we are forged by fire. We have to stay at the very top of our class in undergraduate to get into med school. Then we do 4 years of med school that's really freaking hard. Then we do 3 to 8 years of residency, where they had to pass a law my 3rd year of residency saying you can't work more than 80 hours a week, every week, for the whole time. And that 80 hours didn't include rounds and didactics, which is about 15 hours a week. Yeah, so, that's what we do. Residency is really hard. And most of us that are women that go into medicine have to carry, birth, and care for a child during that time because we don't finish residency till we're in our 30s. And we do it. We all do it, and I'm not saying be sorry for me. We did it. I did it twice. It was lovely. But I worked up until the day I delivered both of my kids during residency. I went to work 6 weeks after that C-section both times, because if you don't do that, you don't graduate with your class, which is a death sentence when you're looking for a job. So this is what we do. We run codes. We hold people when they die. We work on Christmas. We miss our kids' field days. We do things. We're strong people, and we're exiting, which should tell you something. And the employers, the people paying for healthcare, are falling apart as well. Add in addition to the cost increases that are happening, the fact that a law was passed making employers assume fiduciary responsibility for the health plan, the financial health of the health plan. So now employers are getting sued for creating a poor health plan by their own employees. It's kind of fallen apart on that angle as well. So what is this? What's the story? Is it the people? Are people just getting sick? I mean, we didn't have most of these diseases that are shortening our life expectancy 200 years ago. So if we collectively had a genetic morphism that's made us all get chronic diseases that are going to kill us and make us take medications, are physicians suddenly just not gritty? I mean, did something happen to us all at once? Did the employers just get irresponsible with their money and just start shelling out checks? I don't think that's the problem. The problem is the system we're working within. We don't have a healthcare system, we have a sick care system. And the system is beautifully set up to manage sick people. And sick people are widgets. And as long as you can keep those people sick and keep putting widgets on there that are very profitable, you just keep growing the system. And widgets are not human beings that interact with other human beings. Widgets are medications, they're procedures, they are electronic systems that connect to each other, they're billing systems, they're all kinds of widgets, but they're not human beings. So the system has changed. The system has morphed into something that's not sustainable, but yet it's going. And ironically, in this field that I went to in obesity medicine that was supposed to be this beautiful field that we take care of human beings, now we have this crushing pressure of these medications putting way more pressure on the system, which is accelerating everything, which is fun and interesting and terrifying all at the same time. But when you sit and talk about the cost of doing business, and the cost of needing better marketing and better funnels and better things, because the cost of doing business keeps going up and up and up. Why is the cost of doing business getting up? Because people are getting expensive, because people are patients. And that line on the budget that says healthcare is going up, it might only be 4% per year, but would you tolerate a cost of goods going up by 4% as the quality goes down and down and down? And your people are leaving, looking for better care. So all of this comes into the cost of running a business. And thankfully, we can do something about it individually, collectively. It's going to take a long time, but as employers, there is power there. People cannot unite behind this. People are very fragmented. Doctors are very fragmented too. System's set up that way. It's really hard to change that, but employers have power over their own healthcare plans, and there's a lot that can be done there. So yes, the system is broken, but instead of just saying the system is broken, there's nothing I can do about it, I'm just going to go alongside there, I think saying why is the system broken and who is it broken for and what can I do there is a much, much better question. Thank you.